and welcome to the Praha TV weekly news. I'm Marcela Tomčíková, bringing you the latest updates from Prague and the surrounding region. Stay with us as we cover the most important stories, key developments and events shaping our life. We are happy that you are watching us. Let's get started with one of the biggest investment stories, the largest tender for a transport operator in Czech history. The Prague city and the Central Bohemian region announced unprecedented cooperation in this tender. The new operator will provide connections on key railway lines for 30 years and will deploy modern electric units with a minimum seating capacity of 380. The project aims to increase train capacity and improve transport accessibility, but its implementation will depend on state infrastructure investments as well.
Prague 11's local government is investigating different ways to improve the availability of parking spaces. One proposed solution is to create new parking spaces near Uchodovského Cemetery Street. Another possibility is to temporarily use a neighboring private property next to the Sandra parking lot, where there are no current construction plans. At the same time, there are possibilities to temporarily utilize part of the parking capacity in the under-construction P+R Opatov.
Previous administrations created a historical context, which relates to the decision to renovate both the Sandra building and the Opatov Hotel. Under past leadership, no new parking arrangements were made. Today, as the Sandra building becomes occupied, residents face significant parking challenges, especially at night.
The initial action taken was to order a feasibility study for the expansion of parking spaces, with results due in a few weeks, followed by project initiation. The district is currently in talks with the private owner of an unused land parcel near Sandra to create a temporary parking facility.
We commissioned a feasibility study for new parking under Uchodovského Cemetery Street last year. This signifies a link between existing communication and a flat burial site. Where this study will be completed during the week, subsequently a project would follow, and we would like to select a contractor this year and physically create those places on the surface.
Prague 11 is also looking for ways to finance individual measures. The management of the city district intends to reduce expenses and focus on simpler surface modifications.
We do not have exact figures at this moment, as we are still in the study phase, and the TPP project should be processed, but I do not expect the surface expansion to be financially burdensome. Regarding the land of the supplementary investor, we would really like to proceed with some temporary implementation, meaning there shouldn't be issues with large investments there, mainly to adapt the space for temporary utilization. As for P+R, there is a regime change that should not be financially burdensome in any way.
As part of long-term strategies, a parking garage is planned on Shalunova Street, with a capacity for 500 cars. Until its completion, the P+R Opatov, which the city is building near Chilska Street, could be partially utilized.
The City Council is constructing a P+R drop-off in a new parking garage on Chilska Street, but regrettably, it won't be finished in time for the elections. Nonetheless, it will probably be finished earlier than the parking structure in Shalunova, meaning some of that capacity could be temporarily allocated for residents of this locality.
If the study checks out, as many as 90 new parking spots might be established around Chodov Cemetery, and on a temporarily utilized private property, the number of spots could potentially double.
In case you are active in public life, maybe the next part is an inspiration for you. Every citizen of Prague has the opportunity to ask a question to Prague representatives during interpellations at the municipal council meeting. All you have to do is fulfill the registration in advance and be ready for the stated time. How do interpellations really work and why are they important? Reporters have answers.
Interpellation, a term derived from Latin, means to jump into a conversation or to interrupt with a question, and this definition remains relevant even now. Citizens can interpellate representatives at the Prague City Council, meaning they can simply ask politicians any question they wish.
Those who are interpellated have the option to answer immediately in person or to respond in writing at a later time. Alternatively, they may choose both options if they need to look up certain information. If they answer immediately, the citizen gets the information right away. If they respond in writing, the answer will be provided within 30 days.
I don't want to admit my mistakes, and it's clear I won't do those again.
It is definitely a positive thing that the city permits these civic interpellations. This is also beneficial for citizens from various city districts, as residents can address different issues and concerns about issues that may not be widely known in the city as a whole. This means it serves as a kind of bridge between civic matters and the political representation at a higher level.
Anyone wishing to interpolate a politician must register in advance.
Within the Prague City Council, only residents of the capital can sign up for interpolations, as is logical, and they can register either in person here or online. On the day of the session, they can register until 9:30 a.m. or in advance electronically.
In such cases, people can use either the Prague portal or the email address interpolacepraha.eu. For oral interpolations, it is necessary to ask a question using the microphone at the back of the council chamber.
Interpolations at each council meeting take place from 12:30 to 1:15, during which time citizens can participate.
However, citizens are not the only ones who can interpolate. Once the citizen interpolations conclude, the representatives' interpolations follow, which the opposition uses to inquire about how the city administration is progressing in various areas.
Since the opposition does not actually hold any office, it is crucial for them to ask questions, to gather some information, and then, in the context of political struggle, confront the government or the city leadership, so to speak.
The council convenes once a month, and all sessions are open to the public, so people can come and listen to the discussions. Simply enter the town hall building from Mariánské náměstí, go up to the first floor, and walk through the doors into the council chamber, which is designated for the public. However, if you cannot attend in person, there's no need to be upset. All meetings are streamed online on the town hall's website. Lukáš Richter, Televize Praha.
The complex revitalization of the Charles Square, Karlovo náměstí, is ahead. The first preparatory works will focus on landscaping, including transplanting trees and exploring their roots. The overall revitalization of the largest square in the Czech Republic will begin in full force in 2027 and should bring a new space for meetings, markets and relaxation.
The complete revitalization of Charles Square is imminent. This year, the first preparatory work will begin as part of the Zero phase, focusing on greenery. Before the revitalization begins, nearly 10 million crowns will be spent on soil preparation. The work will start this fall and will include root adjustments and their examination, as well as the transplantation of trees.
The aim is to prepare the vegetation for the subsequent work. Interestingly, a technology called an air spade will be used there. Because the main problem with trees in the city, these works will take about 6 to 8 months. Then, nothing will stand in the way of the full-scale revitalization of the largest square in the Czech Republic.
To be clarified, these works will take about 6 to 8 months. Then nothing will stand in the way of the full-scale revitalization of the largest square in the Czech Republic. Currently, the start of the work is planned for the year 2027.
In front of the new town hall, a paved area for gatherings and markets will be created, followed by the modification of the central part of the park, where a flower garden will be restored, and in the southernmost part, there will be a children's playground with a cafe and a recreational area for citizens.
The architect Mr. Tilly Riewald, who is a German architect but works quite extensively in Prague, actually came up with such a proposal, which revived the original Tomayer concept of a 19th century park and incorporates contemporary elements, such as a larger pond for children, space for markets, better positioned.
Communication. Everything should be completely finished around the year 2030. However, the completion date may still be postponed.
Charles Square is one of the most important squares in Prague. It is both a square and a park, thus it holds great potential for the city, and we are striving to improve its park and leisure areas so that it becomes a place for relaxation, residence, and recreation for the inhabitants.
Of course, we are looking forward to the complete renovation of Charles Square. We have been working on it with the Prague City Hall for a long time. Plans are being prepared that will generally improve the situation at Charles Square, enhance the environment,
and enrich the cultural life. The square was founded by Charles IV in the year 1348. In the 19th century, the original cattle market was transformed according to the design of the renowned landscape architect František Tomayer. However, no major modifications have occurred since then, except for the area in front of the town hall at the end of the 90s. Lukáš Richter, Prague Television.
You are watching Praha TV Weekly News, and now we offer you the main headlines from the metropolis.
Bohuslav Svoboda, the mayor of Prague, is set to address the situation in the city's services. The mood is tense, and union members are on strike alert. The reason is the actions of the mayor's deputy, Jana Komarska, who, according to the union, has been unfriendly toward the company for a long time. This reached a peak with an attempt to dismiss the company's director, Patrick Roman. Svoboda will meet with both union representatives and the company's management. Komarska also wants to meet with the unions, but they have rejected this so far. The collection of plant bio-waste in Prague began this year a month earlier than usual, starting on March 1st. According to City Hall spokesperson Vít Hoffman, the city is responding to the needs of citizens, who, due to favorable spring weather in recent years, have started gardening earlier. The seasonal collection will end around mid-December. The Prague Gate celebrates 550 years this year, and Prague City Tourism has prepared a year-long special program, with the main part kicking off in March. Visitors will have access to workshops on medieval crafts and curator-led tours. Participants will be able to test their knowledge with themed quizzes. They will be able to purchase a new unique stamp featuring an illustration of the Prague Gate. Additionally, holders of the Prague travel card will only pay a symbolic entrance fee.
Municipalities, associations or non-profit organizations in Central Bohemia will be able to draw money for projects focused on the protection or restoration of nature. The new subsidy program has already been approved by regional councillors, but it will still have to be voted on by the representatives.
The Central Bohemian region is preparing a new grant program, allocating millions of crowns for it. Various organizations that care for handicapped animals, as well as municipalities aiming to expand greenery in cities, will be eligible to apply for funding. They must already have an approved state subsidy as a condition for applying. Speakers are forward.
This program was approved by the Regional Council, but it still needs to be presented to the Assembly. Without the Assembly's approval, it cannot be announced. However, we are confident that this program will pass.
According to the regional councillor, this is about supporting projects focused on nature and landscape restoration. The new program is set to continue the established trend from previous years.
It is essentially about supporting projects or activities that focus on preserving the natural landscape, restoring it, and maintaining biodiversity. We also focus on projects and initiatives related to the use of renewable energy sources.
The region aims to promote greenery and will support projects like tree planting and park creation in cities as part of this initiative.
To improve air quality in these areas. Naturally, as climate conditions change, we also focus on initiatives that adapt to these changes. If you know about green infrastructure, which is currently expanding significantly into cities and municipalities, then even if a municipality has such a project that relates to green infrastructure, it can receive support from this.
Another field involves rescue stations for wildlife. Groups can also access funding for their operation or growth.
And the funds? Moreover, there can be non-profit organizations or other associations that are interested in preserving biodiversity and therefore tending to the landscape to ensure that various animal species and possibly even plants return to it.
Applications for grants will be possible from the 19th to the 30th of May. The program provides for a maximum support of 2 million crowns for one project.
Unemployment in the Czech Republic rose slightly in February to 4.4%, which shows 0.1 percentage point increase compared to January. As usually, the lowest unemployment rates below 3% were recorded in the districts of Prague East, Prague West, Benešov and the capital, Prague. We get slowly to the end of this newscast. It is the perfect time for inspiration and invitation at the same time. This could be found in Botanical Garden, as it hosts a very popular orchid exhibition.
Orchids are considered to be among the most intelligent plants, having developed clever strategies to attract pollinators and survive in various conditions. This year's showcase at the Troja Botanical Garden highlights these intriguing strategies.
As every year, we strive to come up with a different, interesting theme. And this year, it is all about attraction. And who else could it be but orchids? which are literally the queens of various intrigues in the realm of attraction. This is due to the fact that they can be found from the tropical belt all the way to the polar circle. Thus, they had to perfectly adapt to various pollinators. These include various cymbidiums, and of course we must not forget the latest hybrids as well. This will particularly interest growers, and they can learn more about cultivation during the weekend workshops, which we have prepared for visitors in the exhibition pavilion.
In the exhibition, you can see rare species that botanists are trying to cultivate under specific conditions.
When orchids are collected from the wild, they sometimes include species that have not been well cultivated yet, or that are not well known. So we try, this is of course, a challenge to find the best way to grow them so that they thrive. The majority of cultivated orchids are epiphytes, meaning they grow on trees, with their roots always exposed to the air. They require good airflow, and the worst thing for orchids is when they are overwatered.
The Queens of Intrigue exhibition at the Botanical Garden will run until the 24th of March. Visitors will also be able to purchase some orchids from a wide selection, ranging from extravagant hybrids to rare botanical species.
That's all for this edition of Praha TV Weekly News. Thank you for joining us and staying informed with this newscast. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what stories matter to you and what topics you would like us to cover. Stay safe, stay curious, and see you next week.